Good morning, Acadiana, and welcome to another edition of Morning Coffee with Big Al
and Special T.
We're happy to be coming to you from Cypress Street Radio, AOC Community Media's streaming broadcast.
Look for us every day of the week. Our 8 a.m. show will start your morning off right. That's right in a good way.
Not radical right. We bring you good ideas, good pastimes, and who knows what else.
With a progressive flair. Our 7 p.m. stream is a great backdrop for some decaf and peace of mind. So either way, get something that helps you to chill, relax, sit back with whatever you've got and enjoy the show.
Yes.
Oh my Lord. It's been kind of crazy, Al.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. We have a lot of interesting stuff going on in the area and also going on in our neighbor to the west, Lake Charles.
Right. We've got local issues, we've got regional issues, and we've got state issues and national issues, all adding to the challenges and the demands of the day. Some of them are a little bit more unnerving than others, and tell you what, and some important things going on too.
Oh yeah. On the national scene, we have a new COVID medical expert.
Do we really? What's this person's name? Do you know?
Oh, I can't even. No. Fauci's been.
Is it a for-profit expert?
Well, it's what is it? The herd immunity.
The herd immunity expert.
He seems to be a herd immunity guy, a herd immunity type guy, you know. But which I saw an interesting analysis of that today, and it's a political calculation, and
so that we get the big, fabulous release of the partially tested miracle COVID vaccine right before the election? Is that what's going to happen?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of I think it's kind of like splitting your aces or taking insurance or stuff like that if you're playing blackjack, because it allows for the way the guy was putting it today was one of the guys that I listen to that analyzes things like this, he was saying, and I guess we'll be able to tell if this is what actually happens, but he was suggesting that our dear leader will say, well, I'm going to go along with the experts now, or I'm going to listen to the expert, in other words, his new expert that he just brought on. And so, we have to have herd immunity, and, we have to, which kind of goes along with opening things up and, opening the schools, opening the businesses, getting the economy going, blah, 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 which, we could have already done that had people done,
what they were supposed to do.
Right, exactly. And because there's a lot of other countries that did that, and it worked out.
Because they had leaders who told them what they needed to do, and they were ready. Maybe.
Yeah. Now they had they had a better flow of information. And
resources.
What's that?
And resources.
Oh yeah. Well, we're definitely. I mean, we should have had as many masks as we needed, easily accessible and at a reasonable price for, the majority of the people. I mean, obviously you got to have them for the medical people because they're the ones that are right there on the front line being potentially exposed every day.
And we started with them not having hardly anything.
Right. And that was when I don't think anybody really needs a mask. I mean, that's like, well, yeah, if your immunity is very good and you don't have any, other conditions that might contribute to the COVID. I mean,
and now the teachers, and did I hear correctly that they're telling the teachers that, they're on their own as far as masks and things like that are concerned?
Probably. I mean, I don't know. Probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
I think I've read that somewhere, but, who knows what. The whole thing about the reliability of the announcements is, where everything's in question.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I believe I've said before on this show, that the whole realm of communication has been corrupted. Compromised, corrupted, a lot of different words that could be used there. I mean, because you don't know, kind of like, what was it? The movie where the lady said, the truth, I don't know what is the truth. But this is something, I mean, even if you don't know for sure what it is, I mean, you can say, this is what we think it is. We think this is the best way to go. This is the information we have right now. This is the best. The
best and newest.
Right. The latest and the greatest. Yeah, and we think.
Where's the concrete?
Yeah. Where's Walter when you need him?
Walter Concrete when you need him. Yeah.
Yeah. The Sophie's Choice. That's what I was trying to think of.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Just watched that movie.
Huh?
I just watched that movie recently.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but it's like we could have done a lot better. But ultimately getting back to the herd immunity thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, herd immunity is a valid consideration. I mean, it's a real thing, but the thing is, with this particular virus, and I'm not claiming to be a doctor here, but I guess I could play one on TV since we have our show. But,
you can wear a stethoscope.
The thing is this is kind of a strange virus in some ways.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
They didn't, it's not like, well, it's just another variant of the flu or something like that, But the idea was not to overwhelm the medical system because, if you do that, then you're going to have just a huge number of people that don't get any kind of treatment or relief or whatever, and the death count's going to go way higher than it already is,
yes.
Which I think is definitely higher than it needs to be. But it's like in the latest.
Well, that was the concern early on when someone had suggested that they not wear masks at all.
Right.
And just let that play out.
Well, ultimately, I think we'll have sort of a herd immunity to this, but you know, if we just let it happen all at once, then we'd probably be looking at a few million dead.
Mm-hmm.
And in spite of the latest thing that that's come out about the 6%. I mean, have you seen that about the? There's I think it's from the CDC, and they were saying that 6% of the reported deaths were succumbed to COVID-19 exclusively. Like they had no other comorbidities, no other complications or whatever. But the thing is, it's like, let's say, you have whatever, some kind of a heart condition or obese, like so many people in the United States, and you're doing, basically okay considering the underlying condition you have.
Right.
But then you have this, you contract COVID, and now that's more than your system can deal with.
Right.
And so it's not the exclusive thing that kills.
It's not the only factor. It's not the only invasive bacteria or viral situation or illness that's compromising your ability to fight things off.
Right, exactly.
And so many people have different things. But it does increase, with age.
Yeah.
Your system becomes more vulnerable.
Yeah, that was something we can get into later if we think about it. But I mean, it's like something that I think is, it makes a lot of sense to me, but it depends so much on what we eat and what the food source is. I mean, as far as our overall health and longevity and all that. But the 6% thing, I don't think I totally completed what I was getting at with that. It's not like only 6% and the other 94% is, it doesn't have anything to do with COVID, because there's somewhere in there's a line that if this person, and probably most of them, would, probably still be alive, but for contracting COVID. And, people are trying to run with this because there's so much. I mean, there's been a lot of misinformation. There's been a lot of incompetence. There's been a lot of, just general, didn't do a real good job with it.
Yeah,
but
it's tough. It's been tough to sort out.
Yeah, it is. And particularly when you have some outlets that are there just to confuse the issue and just to divide people.
Mm.
But we have
ulterior motives.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you.
But we have coming to a local issue. I am guessing that you've heard about the, what do they call it? The places to stay for the refugees.
Evacuees.
Right.
Evacuees from Lake Charles and other storm-hit areas.
Right.
It was really interesting. The other day, I heard someone who you would have thought was probably well versed on what the plan was. They have an office over in Lake Charles, and they have a reputable distinction, as far as not providing or providing information that you can rely on.
Right.
And there are groups that are supposed to be trying to organize the response so that there's not overlap, there's not confusion, that everything is coordinated. And, they've tried this before, and the only problem is that there's a lot of people who are not in the loop, and they're like, I want to help, and they end up either spinning their wheels or compounding the confusion, or making it where there's more than needed, that can be a problem too. We were told that in instances like Harvey, and even as far back as Katrina and all, the outpouring was such and so uncoordinated. There were warehouses that were completely filled with stuff that was not needed, not wanted, that they didn't know what to do with. And eventually, what did they do? They buried it or burned it.
I hadn't heard that.
That helps me. It's kind of like, I don't know why, but it makes me think of all the factory farms and the pigs that were so over what the need or the ability to utilize them or, take care of things. And here they just go and they kill these animals. You remember that when the demand for pork and the ability to process it was affected by the people in the plants who got the COVID, and there was not the distribution. And they have these pigs, these animals are being born and born and born to match the demand supposedly when everything's normal.
Right.
I didn't realize how numerous that was.
Yeah.
And I can get on the thing about the animals. You're talking methane gas, and you're talking, contamination and air pollution, the whole 9 yards.
It seems, I was thinking about something that happened a long time ago. The same thing though with pigs, and I guess I hadn't thought about a more recent thing, but there's a lot of mismanaged systems, and I know with the Katrina, it seems like General Honore did a lot of, I'm not sure how much he did on the logistics and all that, but
afterwards a lot, to evaluating what happened and identifying problems that deal with water and response. He's still out there.
Yes, he is.
I don't know if he's, on the ground with his boots right now, but he's definitely been working in the background with his Green Army for quite some time.
Yeah.
About water issues, especially in the Erath area.
Really? I hadn't heard, and it may be that I just haven't run across it, but I haven't heard too much from him regarding Laura. And
not yet.
Okay.
But we were also told that there were no buses that were really dropping people off in Lafayette, that they were taking all the evacuees to New Orleans.
Really?
And yeah, that's what we were told. But I got some message even that morning, and I was unable to respond to that and with a question about the conflict of information, but that buses had come here, and that they came with people with nothing but the clothes on their backs, and that they needed clothes. Okay, but what is this bus? How did it end up going someplace different from the coordinated response? And then another thing to consider is that some evacuations, transport, relocation of patients in the hospitals had to be done, because Lake Charles, at least as of yesterday, and probably for some time, has no power. And because they have no power, they have no pumping of the water system and no sewer service.
Okay.
And also because of the storm, and I don't know if it's because of the towers or exactly what the relay system is that's not as stable as it used to be, that the reception between other places and like Lake Charles and places that were hit hard is not, it's called spotty, it's not as reliable, it's more unstable than typically is the case. I'm sure they have dropped lines, when they're talking, or they cannot be understood because it's almost like pixelation of when a picture doesn't come through correctly. The voice wavers in and out, and it's hard to understand what's being said. And it's probably on both ends.
Interesting. Yeah, I have family in Lake Charles, and fortunately, they came through the storm. Everybody, nobody was hurt. The Kathy's house suffered a little bit of damage, but that was a very strong storm when it moved inland.
Yeah,
And
it elevated. They talked that like that's some of the global warming and heating of the water that's causing these storms to accelerate on the, as they approach. I guess because the water's hotter where it's more shallow, and it just gives it puts out more energy for the storm to incorporate into its system. It just goes at an extremely elevated rate of intensification.
Yeah, well, I think that's basically correct. The when you have the warmer water, that is more energy for the storm. And it's kind of interesting that Marco kind of fizzled out, and and then Laura, was that was a major hurricane when it hit.
I wonder if those two have any relation with each other, since they were so close as far as sequencing. That there might have been something that the two interfered with each other in some way. I don't know. It's like questions about the galaxy, and the black holes and the planets and stars and things, all relating to each other, where one will swallow up the other. I don't know.
Well, I've heard a little bit about that, but I haven't heard anything definitive as far as.
No, I don't know. I don't think it was expected that Marco would die like it did. They knew it was going to it was going to become less of a threat.
Right.
But all the maps and everything that I saw show it moving west, almost like in a vertical line to, along the compass, it was east to west. It looked like a straight line it was going to take across the lower part of Louisiana into Texas. And it never got there.
Yeah, well, it seems like it got into the Mississippi River Delta. And then, at that point, it seems like it was still kind of going to the west, northwest, or northwest, or something like that. And then it kind of took a turn to the west, southwest, or maybe even southwest, and almost like the center of it kind of went back offshore and kind of, stayed off the coast of Louisiana for a while. But it was not what I was expecting. But then, it's.
We were preparing to have something, happen like on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then Monday, and then all day Tuesday, where we were, there was nothing.
Yeah. Well, Laura definitely intensified a lot. Well, I think a lot more rapidly than was originally predicted, and also to a much higher level than was originally predicted.
Right. So anyway, with regard to response, there are organizations that should be contacted. You know, you can pretty well rely on the information that you can get from like United Way. You know, they're pretty entrenched and have been, them and the Red Cross have been doing disaster relief and response for ages. And I know some people don't like them, but they definitely have the tenure and experience through the years. You know, same with the World Health Organization and the CDC. I mean, there's merit to longevity.
Yeah. Well, I still like the National Weather Service too. You know, I mean the idea that,
and the post office.
Oh yeah, not to mention the post office. Yeah, that's a
these are
huge thing
things
too.
that we relied on for so long, and I'm sorry, I don't think that just because it's been there a long time that it doesn't serve a purpose and serve it well.
It serves a very good purpose, and has for a couple hundred years. I mean, I don't think there are any other specific agencies for a specific delivery of a specific service that are mentioned in the Constitution, and it has to do with communication. It's, you got to get word from here to there, whether it's, a letter, it goes by the Pony Express, or it's email, or, just a first class letter, or whatever the case may be. To me, the post office has provided a really good service, and to compromise it by someone who made a big donation to your
campaign.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's pretty shady. I'll put it like that. But taking these sorting machines out of facilities, I mean, that's like, well, we're going to help all these mechanic shops out we're going to go around and take all their tools,
Yeah.
But,
I heard a small group of people talking about the voting, and they have resigned to going ahead and making sure that they vote in person.
Well, yeah. I mean, I almost always vote early. I mean, I like to vote early, and to me, that's just my preference. But I also have the Go Vote app on my phone, so I can always, I don't know, it might be too much glare on that, but
there's a lot of glare.
Yeah, but at any rate, I mean, it shows me right here that I'm active, and once the polling location, election results, you can go to the full Secretary of State website, and let's see, the ballot. I mean, right now, there's nothing there because there's no elections right now.
Because they don't have the ballot yet.
Right.
They're not ready.
But when it comes up, I mean, I'll be able to look at my ballot right here on my phone.
It'll be up in October.
Yeah,
So be aware that if you have not registered yet, you need to register this month. You need to make sure that it's totally executed.
Yeah.
I think by the 2nd of October, but don't wait that long. Do not wait that long. There's just too many things happening. Go ahead, fill out the form, either deliver it in person to your registrar of voters. If you live in Lafayette, that is 1010 Lafayette, downtown, on the same street that's shared with both the federal and the parish courthouse. Lafayette, you be on the back side of the front side of the federal courthouse and the side walls of the parish courthouse is closer. It's also very close, if you don't know your way around, very close to the big sheriff's department on Main Street.
Yeah, and that's a big point, is make sure you're registered, make sure you hadn't been, sometimes people get dropped off and
that's right. Or you may think that you know where to vote and you don't because they've changed the location. Somebody gave me like 2 voter cards, and it was a husband and wife. They live on the same road, but one of the cards was from like 2011 and the other was like from 2016. Well, they did not have the same voting location on there.
Yeah.
A lot of things have changed in the last 5-10 years, Yeah. In fact, the last 3 years, especially in Lafayette, because, we had that big thing where they changed our boundaries, where we used to have 14 districts, I think. No, we had 9 districts. Now we have 5.
Yeah.
And they're split. We have 5 city districts and 5 parish districts.
Yeah.
So we have 5 city councilmen and 5 different parish councilmen.
Well, yeah, that's true. I think it's...
The precinct numbers have changed and the boundaries.
Yeah. I think we're about due for a little intermission here, huh?
Yeah, I think we are.
But the main thing, make sure you're registered to vote and then vote somehow or another. Early vote on the day of the election, or mail in if you get it done ahead of time, way ahead of time, so there's no, the mailing in thing is, I don't know, seems to me kind of questionable, but at any rate,
just go vote.
Yeah, definitely.
El censo cuenta a todos los que vivimos en este país, incluyendo aquellos que no pensarías que también cuentan. Una persona en el hospital, sí, cuenta. Miguelito que acaba de nacer, sí, Miguelito ya cuenta. Los García y los Álvarez que comparten la misma casa, sí, todos cuentan. El primo Luis que acaba de llegar al país y está viviendo en el garaje de Pedro, también cuenta. El censo cuenta a todos para que a todos nos vaya mejor.
All right, so it's not too late to fill out those 2020 census forms. The Census Bureau is already running behind in getting responses as its door-knocking campaign was delayed due to the pandemic. Eyewitness News reporter Alexandra Leslie spoke to the Census Bureau about the communities that they really need to hear from the most.
The pandemic is a big reason filling out this year's census is so important. The U.S. Census Bureau says many funding decisions are already made using this data, and tougher decisions are coming.
Whether it's number of vaccines, do we need additional hospital beds?
These are among the reasons why local and state governments need to have an accurate count of the population. Right now, the U.S. Census Bureau reports 60.5% of Americans have filled out their 2020 census. Rhode Island is just behind at 58.6%.
It boils down to representation and funding.
College students are included in this representation, but many had to leave campus early and may not have received their census in time.
That these students need to go online and fill out the census as if they were living at that off-campus apartment.
The data also shows some urban communities have a much lower self-response rate. The Census Bureau reports Central Falls is below 40%. This is in part due to more renters than owners, but there are also language barriers and fear of government to consider.
We can never release information at the person or household level. So Homeland Security, ICE, IRS, they can never access our data at any time for any reason.
Census takers will eventually go door to door to households that didn't respond.
We were supposed to start that operation May 13th. There's no way we could have done that. It wouldn't have been safe nationwide.
The deadline to provide counts to the president is December 31st, but the Census Bureau was hoping to get a 4-month extension due to a late start in door knocking. I'm Alexandra Leslie, Eyewitness News.
Is your vote voter registration up to date? Even if you voted before, from time to time, states and local election offices purge their voter registration lists. They delete people who have moved or who haven't voted in a long time. And sometimes there's just an error. That's why it's a good idea to check your registration now to make sure you can vote on Election Day. Start by finding your local election office at usa.gov/election-office. You may be able to check your registration online, by phone, by mail, or in person. When you're reviewing your voter registration, here's what to look for. Your name is correct and still on the voter list. Your address and party affiliation are up to date. And you're going to the correct polling place. If you can't find your name on the voter list or your information is wrong, contact your election office right away to correct the error. Did you recently move or change your name? Depending on where you live, you'll need to update your registration or re-register. Ask your election office. Sometimes just moving a few blocks away can actually change your polling place. And check your registration if you have not voted in the past couple of elections or you didn't mail back a postcard from your election office. They might consider you inactive and purge your name from the voter registration list. Don't wait until Election Day to discover you can't vote. Check your registration now and learn more about voting at usa.gov/voting.
It looks like we're back live with you again and all our fans all around the World Wide Web, all over the globe here.
All the way on the other side of the world, but you can listen to us thanks to AOC Community Media and our podcast.
And Cypress Street Radio.
All of our technicians who make things so wonderful, young people, middle life people, older people.
Yeah.
And we
all work together.
We all need to work together, make sure that we vote and do whatever we can to try our best to make sure our vote counts.
Yeah, that's...
and speaking of being counted, okay, I have a prop. This is a new thing from the United States Census that tells us it's not too late to complete the census.
Yeah.
And it also has Spanish and English phone numbers.
Oh, bueno.
So, si quiere, puedo llamar a ese teléfono aquí.
Sí.
Entonces la gente al otro lado puede hablar con usted en español. Ay, qué rico. So anyway, look for these. I'll hold this up a little bit more so you see these good numbers. The one for the English is really easy to remember because of the patterns. The 844-330-2020, like 2020 census. So 2020.
It's like it's the same year as what we have.
It's almost like a smart code. So anyway, hopefully you'll do that. trying to get these signs up in places that they'll have a potential for a population, higher population that's not responded. So
I noticed. Go ahead.
Trailer parks, housing where there's a lot of transition.
Yeah.
Stores that are, heavy volume of purchasing of essential items. Churches that may be reaching out to a specific ethnic community. That's what I can think of. And stores that do the same.
I noticed the only difference in those numbers was the group of 3 numbers, and on the English it's 330.
Right.
And on the Espanol it's 468.
That's right. Good memory.
Or, as we say in Spanish, let's see.
What do we say in Spanish?
The cuatro, seis, ocho.
Yeah.
Yeah, cuatro, seis, ocho, and the rest are all the same.
That's true.
The 800 or the 844 number or whatever it was, and the 2020. But that's definitely, we need, the more people that participate with the census, the more representation, the more money we get. I had a girl come by here the other day asking about the guy across the street because he's been out of his house for a while. Mm-hmm. And, we straightened that out. But, and I think he had actually registered where he's at right now anyway. But, it's a thing that needs to be done. It's another one of those things in the Constitution.
I know. I was thinking that too. The U.S. mail and the 10-year census. But if we suffer the way that they're talking about how we might because of the disease and all the other factors that have been a part of this, I can't help but wonder if our leadership would be strong enough to try to do something interim, like a 5-year, just for this one time, if it is obvious that the numbers are way off, low, compared to what would be normal. Because to just continue that low count for the 10 years coming up just seems negligent in my mind.
Well, yes, negligent is nothing new, but
that's right.
Unfortunately, I tend to think that it would be, who would get the advantage out of it? Instead of saying no, we know this is not right, so we need to, rectify. It would be like, well, how's this going to work out? Is this going to be good for us or good for them or good for this group or that group or whatever? And not really looking at it, the way it's supposed to be.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, it's a pie and it's divided up evenly, determined on how many people register it, or is there a set amount that each person will get? I don't think so. I think all that money is supposed to be used.
Well, yeah, I'm not familiar with that. But you mentioned something about the health or healthcare. I'm not sure exactly what you said. But,
yes, that has to do with the evacuees.
Yeah,
and that's going to affect this too.
Well, I had a friend of mine that's in a medical field, and she was telling me that the hospital down in Abbeville was having some issues and had apparently, I'm not absolutely sure, what happened, but it sounds like they were having some electricity problems in the area, and they had to
move some of their patients too.
Well, apparently, and so.
Well, and they are coming to Lafayette. Lafayette has not been affected very badly by this storm. We did have some downed trees, and there were areas that did have their power out for a while. Many of them are restored already because there were few. But what has happened with the evacuations of patients, those families who would evacuate also did not want to go. A lot of them did not want to go to New Orleans when their family members were in Lafayette. So they are, are a part of a population that's in our area who is in dire need of some shelter. People slept in their cars 2 nights ago. They're looking for, trying to be imaginative, tents, trailers, vans, conversion of places that wouldn't normally be, just like considered residential rental properties.
Yeah.
High demand for rental properties. People have their pets.
Yeah.
They could have big pets. And the outlook as far as the damage on their homes might be significant. So it's a lot of upheaval to add on top of the fact that here we're trying to wrap up a census. We're trying to prepare for elections, and the U.S. Postal Service system is put in a precarious situation where we're not sure, exactly what's going to happen. We can hope for the best, but I don't think we can. I would love to say we could rely on it, but it's a lot of question marks.
Yeah, we used to not, at least I never really was concerned about the post office. I was
never concerned about the post office. I really was not ever so concerned about elections.
Yeah. Well, I've heard some pretty shady stuff with the elections, but the post office, for 55 cents and being able to get a letter delivered,
that's a good deal.
It's a great deal.
It used to be a penny, though.
What's that?
We used to have penny stamps.
Well, we
used to have like a few pennies would like get a postcard to where it needed to go like 100 years ago.
Well, also shipping musical instruments. Some places would rather ship with the post office than, a private carrier, because the idea is the post office takes better care of it, which, I don't know. I can't say that with absolute certainty, but I know that's, I've shipped stuff with the post office, guitars or whatever, and they seem to get there okay. And a lot of stuff going on that's not really productive and doesn't really serve any purpose for the general good, for the good of the general populace, I think.
Right. There, we do have groups here in Lafayette and other places too who, are wanting to help out. My suggestion is typically to, contact United Way, find out, what's needed. You're going to find some stuff on the internet that says things, but that's not always reliable.
Yeah, you got to be careful about. I'm sure somebody will, try to scam you if.
And it may not even be a scam, but it may just be misguided.
Well, that's possible too, I suppose.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about the Cajun Navy. The last few storms we've had, they've been out in force. I think maybe that's been quelled some. I haven't heard anything.
I don't know. I haven't heard. I haven't heard too much about that in from Lake Charles. And I would kind of think that. I'm sure they're ready to help if they're needed. But then I don't know how much of. It's not like it's been. It wasn't so much of a rain event as it was a wind event.
Right, and yeah. And it was interesting too, because as far as the projections and all, like we mentioned, that like Marco was supposed to go all the way across to Houston. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the bulk of convening as far as a team for these storms was in Houston. Okay. And they found out that, Houston was pretty much spared.
Yeah.
I mean, they were on the clean side of the storm.
Right.
And so anyway, they had to be remobilized in different areas that need help. And it's interesting, too, that we're hearing so much about Lake Charles, because Lake Charles is absolutely a disaster area.
Yeah.
But other areas are not far from that amount of damage, just less.
Yeah.
But still very, very impacted. Like Alexandria up here was very difficult to navigate around Alexandria. And you think of anything that is fairly close to Lake Charles going to the north and affected.
Well, I mean, it was still a Cat 2 when it hit Alexandria.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, 100 miles inland.
Yeah.
So that's, can give people an idea of the intensity of the storm.
Yeah. We have different groups like Kiwanis and Rotary and Lions Club and Woodmen of the World. All these are service groups that try to do things to help out people. And if you're a member of any of these groups, I'm sure that there's some sort of efforts to try and do something helpful. We do have, I guess, 3, maybe even 4 Rotary clubs in Lafayette. I know we've got a big Kiwanis club. But there's a speaker I've heard is going to be a virtual meeting, and with invitation you could get in if you know somebody in Rotary. And the speaker's going to be Holly Howitt, who is like the executive director of a group called Beacon Connections,
Mm-hmm.
who even without the storm, they work regularly to try to identify folks who are at a disadvantage and to bring in the factors of health and well-being to help get them through whatever hardships they're facing. So they have a big pool of need right now too, and their director is going to be talking at this meeting. It's going to be Tuesday the 8th, I think, of September at around noon on a Zoom. If you know of a Rotary person, if you're interested in that, or if you want to put something on our Facebook, we could probably coordinate and see if you can, listen in.
Yeah. And that would be on Cypress Street Radio, Morning Coffee on Cypress Street Radio, on AOC INC, or Facebook. I mean, there's just lots of different ways to find it, and I think we like to spread good, helpful sites too.
Yeah, and information. I had seen where actually Cite has an art exhibit, a gallery set up that you could go in there and take a look.
Really?
And Cite is very much a locally supported compilation of different types of arts and both performing arts and visual arts. And so wear your mask, and
yeah.
I try to visit them at some time. I'm not sure their hours, but you can certainly look up Cite des Arts online, because they've got a website. And over on Vine downtown, many of these places are struggling because of the inability to keep things going like normal. And it would be a real loss to have that little area that helps so many amateur groups to, keep going with a stage and presence of space, you know?
Yeah.
Where some places are really expensive to use. I think Cite is like I said, it's community backed, and so a lot of things are there, and it's not for pay. They do have like lessons there, you know, where you can take lessons. There are little tiny booths, little rooms that have doors. You can go in there and sign up for guitar lessons and things like that, acting lessons.
Really?
Yeah. They used to have dance.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if it is Cite that, I mean, we used to get a group together there and play guitars on Monday nights, but I know where it was, but I'm not real, not certain of the name, but it's in the general area.
Cite is like right over there close to the Green Room bar.
Yeah.
So
right there. Is it on the corner? I mean, if you turn left off of Jefferson and you go down,
yes.
And it's down on the left, right before you get. Okay, well, we used to. Yeah, we used to.
And there used to be like an independent living center next to it that I'm thinking they're trying to change into something else.
Well, I don't know, but there's. I thought it was like retired people's.
Like a
complex or something like that.
Apartments, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we've got, neighborhood groups that are doing things that before the storm just had a whole litany of activities they were trying to do, like this, do I even have my glasses? Yeah. Macomb Vise Neighborhood and Cultural District. That's a cultural district. No wonder.
Okay.
Anyway, Lafayette's one of the oldest urban core neighborhoods. Original housing built around the first half of the 20th century to house railroad workers. It's predominantly African American neighborhood and has a diverse community. People live there for multiple generations, and it's also the largest home to concentration of blighted and adjudicated properties in the city of Lafayette. Over 200 parcels currently on the adjudicated list. So anyway, they're trying to do a lot of really good stuff. With things that they were wanting to do, things that they can't do during COVID. Movie nights, parades, festivals. I don't know if they've got a newsletter, but wanting to do more media, activate a community house, identify and train resident block captains. That's something that could help with the vote. If you had like a block or a street captain in New Orleans, they used to send the little kids out to knock on doors the day of election. Have you voted yet? You need to vote. So, I mean, if you have a neighborhood that's connected and bonded with each other, it really helps to know who your neighbors are and to get things going.
Yeah, we used to do that when I lived in Houston. We had a Halloween party every year, and people.
We used to do that in my neighborhood too.
Yeah.
Well, let's give a big shout out for community involvement, knowing your neighbors, taking care of these things like recording your existence on the 2020 census. Look for the signs, call the numbers, and if you're not registered to vote yet, please do all you can. Get on the vote, get those cards or whatever. Talk to somebody who you think's connected and say, "Hey, I need to get registered," and do it.
Yeah. And come and visit us on Facebook.
Eleanor Roosevelt said the way to begin is begin.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And come and visit Morning Coffee on our Facebook page.
Morning Coffee on Cypress Street Radio.
Yeah.
And we thank our technicians so much for their efforts to make this show absolutely wonderful.
Yes, and y'all have a great day.